get back to the sheets.
That's what it was.
Go ahead.
All right. We will start this regularly scheduled meeting of the Waterville City Council. If anybody needs an agenda, they are in the sleeve out back. So we started. Fred, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First up, community notes. And if this is a time where anybody has anything they would like to speak about that is not on the scheduled agenda for the evening, now's the time to speak up. If you would like to speak, you can come up to the podium and tell us who you are and what you have to say. Is there anybody who has? Karen?
Just want to let everyone know that the Winter Carnival has been rescheduled for this Saturday at the Green Street Park. Hopefully everyone will be there. There's going to be snowshoeing and the hospital is involved with it. Please come, enjoy, and have some fun with us.
Anybody else? All right, moving on. Approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to pass the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Right, have we vote? All those in favor? Opposed? Consent agenda is passed. Unfinished business. Ordinance 262015.
An ordinance providing for repeal of ordinance 12-1989 and acceptance of the site plan review and subdivision ordinance. Being enacted by the City Council of the City of Waterville acting as municipal officers as follows. That ordinance 12-1989 is repealed and that an ordinance titled Site Plan Review and Subdivision Ordinance, a copy of which is available on the city webpage at www.waterville-me.gov, is adopted, and further that the city solicitor is authorized to prepare in summary form a publication notice of the ordinance.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Move to take third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Anyone like to speak? Roll call.
All those in favor of that?
All those in favor?
I'll take the third reading by title only.
Thank you.
An ordinance providing for repeal of ordinance 12-1989 and acceptance of the site plan review and subdivision ordinance.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Now the roll call.
Councilor Stubbert?
Yes.
Councilor White?
Yes.
Councilor Winslow?
Yes.
Councilor Mayhew?
Yes.
Councilor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilor Rancourt Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
Okay, ordinance 272015.
An ordinance providing for amendment to zoning article 4, being enacted by the City Council of the City of Waterville acting as municipal officers as follows. That Article 4, performance standards of the zoning ordinance, be and hereby is amended as follows. Stricken language is a deletion. An addition is 4.3 performance standards, 4.3.15 hydrogeologic assessment of groundwater impacts. Struck out is 4.3.15E. If the development is within 1,500 feet of a public water line, the development must connect to the line at the developer's expense.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None.
Move to take third and final reading by title only, please.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
An ordinance providing for amendment to zoning article 4.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilor Stubbert?
Yes.
Councilor White?
Yes.
Councilor Winslow?
Yes.
Councilor Mayhew?
Yes.
Councilor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilor Rancourt Thomas?
Yes.
With 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, new business. Order 292014.
Read by title only.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? An order
Is
providing
it
for...
1-4 or 1-5?
Says 14.
Yeah, it should be
1-5.
1-5. An order providing for designation of natural gas municipal development and tax increment financing district and adoption of related development program.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
What I'm passing out is a listing to answer Council Rancourt Thomas' question about eligible expenses that we'll have once the TIF money is reserved in the account. So you can see there are 7 categories, and as I said before, we try and keep them vague and broad enough so we don't get too hemmed in. We can, when we amend the TIF 5 years from now to include new areas, also amend the project activities, I would think, too. So if we find that there are expenses 5 years from now that we think qualify, we could make those changes at that time also. These are not approved unless the State Department of Economic and Community Development reviews it and approves it. So the department that Mr. Brian Whitney was here about a few weeks ago, talking about business friendly, his department reviews the entire TIF document and gives it seal of approval before it can be put into effect. Yes?
I got a question for Paul. Paul, how do we come up with an assessed value of the pipe in the ground?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Basically, what we did was we got the amount of, the footage of the pipe. We went to Marshall and Swift, determined what the pipe cost is for installation, and applied those numbers.
So it's an install cost.
Correct. Correct. And there's one thing I would like to make certain you people know, talking about DECD. This district does go through a few other districts. So there's a possibility that DECD might say, you know, whatever is captured on Main Street, for instance, because of the downtown tip, can't be captured in this district and might have to be captured in the downtown tip district. And if that's the case, and if that is a provision, that is what we'll do.
But you were right, the majority of the value is in the large steel pipe.
Correct. Absolutely.
The residential pipe is plastic tubing. So
Correct. Absolutely. The large 8-inch pipe is almost $100 a foot.
Yeah.
And the cost incurred to go into that river was astronomical.
Right.
So those are the two big, and the regulator station isn't cheap either.
So one of the big questions we had to answer is, after 30 years, how much is Summit invested in new value in the community? And based on what they told us they'd be installing, we came up with a total value of $10 million.
That's what it looks like.
Yep. And so times our, correct me if I'm wrong, times our tax rate, at least current tax rate, we knew that we would be taking in, over 30 years, $7.84 million. So when we filled out this sheet, the bottom line had to be at least 7.84, can be more as it is here. And you know, this allocation of money to these different accounts really is quite a guesstimate at this point. I mean, no one knows for sure. On any of these, we're taking our best stab at it, and over time, we can refine this list as we go along.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and DECD understands that. We looked at what the other towns did, because 3 towns are ahead of us: Augusta, Winslow, Fairfield. And our groupings of activities are quite similar to what they have. And roads being the big thing.
Thanks, Paul.
Mike? I thought we already voted.
You did. You took a first vote. So we need 2 more votes, obviously. Next meeting, we'll finalize it, get it off to the state for their review, which may take up to a month, but at least we'll get it done before April 1st anyway.
We're good now.
Yep, we're good.
Right. Mike, you're up.
Oh, manager's report. All right. Only 2 items. The first is the unfortunate one where our tax liens that were put on a year and a half ago have finally matured on September 9th. So we ended up acquiring 3 properties. One being a mobile home that you passed a waiver on at 2 meetings ago. So in fact, we did not acquire the mobile home. We waived foreclosure. The amount of the tax is still due. We'll do what we can to collect it. But that's one property that we did not come to own. The other 2 are both in the south end, one on Ann Street, and it's a vacant single-family home, pretty bad shape. Our recommendation to you, once the 30-day period is expired, will be to demolish it. So remember, even though we had the foreclosure date of February 9th, our ordinance allows taxpayers 30 additional days to come in with money to redeem their property. The catch is that they don't only have to pay the foreclosed lien, they also have to pay the other 2 years worth of taxes within the 30-day period. So we don't expect that to happen for the vacant. Building has been vacant for a long time, and I think the best thing for the neighborhood would be for it to be gone. The other property is on Summer Street, and it's a 2-family home. And we've been trying to do what we can, as much as we can, to work with the owner there, to try to find a way where in the 30-day period, they can come up with the funds. We certainly don't want to be a landlord. Owning these buildings is one of the things that we try to avoid at all costs. Linda Cody, our tax collector, has made a number of visits to the residents to try to find out how we can help in any way, so we're continuing to do that. Although it's questionable as to whether the funding will be there for them to redeem the property. So we may end up with 2 buildings.
Now, Mike, on the Ann Street property that you recommended to demolish, you reviewed that, correct, Karen? And you
I
agreed
did,
with
and
that?
I even agreed with
Yeah.
that. Mike knows about it, Jared Buildings down in the south end.
Sure,
so That's not, but my concern is about the people on Summer Street. If we were to take that home, where would they go?
Well, obviously, we're going to help them find a place to go. And when we talked with the woman a week or so ago, she said, probably the best thing for me is to get an apartment somewhere. So I think they're already starting to think that way. That this home is very hard to heat. They're on a fixed income. It may be the best thing, but we will definitely work with her as much as we can.
Right, because I mean.
We wouldn't be throwing anyone out in the middle of winter either.
Right, I mean, just to displace someone,
Yeah.
no problem with that.
Yeah, no, we're not going to displace anyone at this time of year for sure.
Are both apartments occupied?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Are both apartments occupied?
Yes,
Both of them.
both of them are.
Is there an issue with collecting rent we talked about? With the second apartment, there's an issue with the collection of the rent.
Right.
Of this.
That's part of the income problem with the
Right.
property is the people living upstairs are not paying their rent and haven't for quite a long time. So there's quite a dispute going between the landlord and the renter upstairs, and that's contributed to the financial difficulties. That's not anything we can solve, but we're trying to do what we can. So,
And I do appreciate everything that Linda's done, Linda Bossa and Linda Cody, they're really always working miracles there, so hopefully something can come out that they can keep this home.
yeah, I agree. If anyone can help to make it happen, it's those 2. Councilor Winslow has been involved in many of these cases too, where we've been able to get someone either with other resources or different place to live, so we're very sensitive to that.
The Ann Street property, is it the fire department able to use that for training purposes as well?
We'll definitely look at that, because they always talk to us about that. could this be a training site? Obviously, how close it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that from being a volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always good to get that training within a house, you know, that's-
Yes,
because you don't have that all the time. So, even
Right.
if they don't do anything outside, they can still do some stuff inside.
right. And they've done that, I think, twice in the last 3 or 4 years on buildings that we've come to own. Mostly all vacant.
That it?
That's it on my, oh, no, there's one other item. Item 2. Heating oil and motor vehicle fuels. In the past, we've always done the bidding in May, June, and awarded the bid for the year that starts July 1. Well, I was going to say prices are pretty much an all-time low, but that was 2 weeks ago. When our current supplier of fuel oil called and said, if you want to commit for next year, I can offer you a price of $1.99 a gallon. Now it's $2.25. And of course, I couldn't do that because I have to come here and ask you if you think that's a good idea. And timing didn't work. Fortunately, Eric Haley at the school was able to do that, so he committed for the school's use for next year at $1.99 a gallon. I'm still thinking that it would be something worthwhile for us to do in the next week or two. I don't pretend that no price is any better than anyone else, but they were at $1.99, they're going up.
Have you looked at other suppliers?
Right, I did, and I was not able to get all 3 suppliers for fuel oil today. So I guess what I'm asking the council tonight is, would you consider giving me the authority to get those prices, fuel oil and motor vehicle fuels, and make a decision this week as to where we go? Rather than wait till May, June, I think the prices will be higher. I don't know that for a fact, obviously.
They're forecast to go up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once they start changing over fuels for summer driving season, everything goes up anyway.
Yeah, it's unfortunate our meetings didn't coincide where we could have taken advantage of the $1.99 like the school did. That's our current supplier for heating oil, Springbrook, that called and said they had that offer. I talked to the finance committee of the council a week or so ago and was going to get prices from other distributors. I talked to Fabian today. Dead River has to get back to me tomorrow. I was hoping to say to you tonight, I have 3 prices for fuel oil. I recommend we go with this one, but I don't have the bids. But if the council is so willing, I can do that with your authority, and probably also on vehicle fuels, which end up being a lot more than diesel.
Yep.
Knowing it's okay with you, then I'll certainly work with Chuck, our finance director, and go over that with him. And if you want, I can always call the chair of the council and say, here's where we ended up. Why don't I plan to do that?
Okay.
That way, the chair and the mayor will know where we ended up. Okay? That's all I have.
Speaking of finance, we've got a meeting on Monday.
Monday. Monday at 4. Yep.
Anybody else? Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Wow. Great.